Hey everyone, welcome to the Gacha Guide. Do you guys want to know if a servant is good enough to spend your hard-earned quartz on? Then you're in the right place, everyone. Today, our topic servant is the Aquatic One-san Jeanne d'Arc Summer version. We'll be covering all these points that you see on screen, so let's jump on into it, starting with stats. So Jeanne is a 5-star AoE Archer class servant, meaning she will do extra damage against sabers and is weak to lancers. As you can see here, she has 10,525 attack at level 90, meaning she has the lowest attack stat of all 5-star archers in the game. Her HP, conversely, is 15,743 at 90, meaning she has the highest HP stat of all 5-star archers in the game. Moving on to hidden stats, we see that her NP gain per hit is 0.68%, which is a bit above average, so a nice little extra boost. As for her cards, her quick card has 4 hits, her arts cards has 2 hits, her buster cards have 2 hits, and her extra is 5 hits. Pretty average hit count overall, except for her quick being a little above. As for her star weight, aka how easy it is to get stars on her, she has 153 on that, meaning she has pretty high priority over most other servants, as most archers do. As for her star generation, it is only 8%, which is a bit below average, so she isn't able to create stars too well for herself. Now, moving on to her deck in Noble Phantasm. She has 1 quick card, 2 arts cards, and 2 buster cards, our standard 2-1-2 deck. Her Noble Phantasm, Des Oceans de Alegres. As the ocean gets abundant, we get to delight in it. It's an AoE Arts Noble Phantasm, featuring 4 hits. It does damage to all enemies, and puts a buff onto her where she will gain critical stars at the end of the turn, every turn for 3 turns. This is based on your overcharge, starting at 10 at 100%, all the way up to 30 stars every turn at 500%. This does stack if you're able to spam her MP. Next up, we have her passives. She only has 2 passives, Magic Resistance B for increased debuff resist by 17.5%, and a unique passive for herself. It's basically just Independent Action. Independent Action Celeb, EX, increases her critical damage by 10%, and further charges her own NP every turn by 3% if you're on a waterside battlefield. So definitely take her to those summer nodes. Moving on to her skills. First off, we have Endless, Enjoy Summer. This increases her arts performance for 3 turns between 20 and 30%, and gives her a 3-turn buff that gives her 2 invincibility hits. Not bad at all. It is a good arts up. It has a low cooldown at only 5 turns at max level, so it's fairly spammable, and those 2 hits of invincibility are really nice. Second skill, she has Waterfront Saintess Dolphin. This charges her MP gauge between 20 to 40% based on level, increases her MP damage for 3 turns between 10 to 20%, and if you're on a waterside battlefield, increases her critical damage between 30 to 50% for 3 turns. This is a fantastic skill. This is amazing. It's a good NP charge, it gives you some NP damage on top of it, and if you're on a water battlefield, you have a very strong crit damage up for 3 turns. It's so good. And finally, we have her third skill, Servant Cheer. It is basically just a charisma, but better. It is a 3-turn party attack buff between 10 to 20%, and furthermore increases the attack of good alignment allies between 10 to 20% for 3 turns. So upwards of 40% attack buff for your allies for 3 turns, on top of a 20% buff for herself. Fantastically strong. Every single skill here is quite good. So, because her skills are so good, I bet you're wondering, what are those skill costs? They're probably high, huh? Good news? Actually pretty low. She has a fairly cheap set of skill costs. She has 15 seashells, 15 permafrosts, 20 phoenix feathers, and 10 divine wines. Meaning that if you want to max her out, every single skill, it's only going to cost you 45 seashells, 45 permafrost ices, 60 phoenix feathers, and 30 divine wines, along with the usual skill gems and QP costs. So that's really cheap for compared to a lot of 5 stars out there. Very, very easy to level up her skills. Now, how does she stack up against servants of her class? What is she competing with? Well, as an AoE 5-star archer, her main competition comes down to Gilgamesh, Nikola Tesla, Arjuna, Ishtar, and our new boy Napoleon. As I've previously said with my Gacha guide for Napoleon, archers have some of the best servants in the game to compete with. And Summer Jeanne is amongst the best of them. Summer Jeanne packs pretty impressive damage output despite her low attack stat, extremely good survivability, and great looping potential through art setup. She is absolutely a top-class archer, right alongside the likes of Gilgamesh and Ishtar. Meaning that she is one of the most effective servants in the entire game. She is a top-tier servant. Well done, Jeanne Archer. In my personal opinion, as I just said, Summer Jeanne's amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you're a big fan of art setups for farming rather than other setups, maybe you don't like quick, then she is the best archer candidate in the entire game for arts looping. Her looping is a lot better at MP2 than MP1. Her MP1 is a little incapable of it, and MP2 is where it really starts to shine. So she can be a little bit expensive to invest in. But if you do, she is an extremely amazing and very effective archer. One of the best, easily. Now, if you happen to roll for Summer Jeanne, I'm sure you want to know, what skills should we prioritize? Well, I would start with her second skill, first off, because it gives you that MP charge. As I've said in the past, a good MP charge is definitely almost always the highest priority when you're leveling up your skills. Next off, I would go for her first skill, for her arts up, along with being able to spam invincibility. You can tank so many hits with this, and then finish off with her charisma buff. That being said, this is a servant where you want to 10-10-10 her skills. You want to max out every single one of them, because every single one of them is very good and helps out with her effectiveness quite a lot. So, despite whatever priority you want to show for her, at the end of the day, you are going to want to have all of them maxed. Now, what craft essences should we go with her? Very simple, she is an MP spammer first and foremost, so we want to go with any craft essences that let her press that nuke button quick and often. Starting off, we've got Kaleidoscope and Imaginary Element, as we always do. These are extra good on any servant that has a self-MP charge like Jeanne here does, as it lets her get an MP off with her own power. For more looping style of play, we have 2 really good CEs to start off with, the Petite Halloween Devil and the Magical Girl of Sapphire. These both sport pretty similar effects. Petite Halloween Devil gives you 25% increased MP generation rate with a 60% MP starting charge, while Magical Girl of Sapphire gives you a 30% increased MP generation rate with a 50% NP starting charge. What that means is that Petite Halloween Devil is slightly better, because it starts with that 60% MP charge, which means Jeanne only has to use her second skill to get to that 100% and start her NP chaining. Now, if you don't have those, say you weren't playing before or you weren't able to max limit break them because they aren't event CEs, that's fine. We have 2 event CEs that are very easy to get 5 copies of, and they are both from previous summer and her summer event. First off, Dive to Blue. Dive to Blue features a 10% arts up, 10% MP damage up, and 50% starting charge. And the new CE that is coming out in Jeanne's event, Painting Summer. It is a 10% arts up, 10% NP generation up, and 50% starting charge. Again, very similar CEs to each other. One of them gets you MP damage, one of them gets you MP generation up. But both of them have that arts up and are very helpful for helping Jeanne deal damage and set up for loop. All of these CEs are very good choices for her. Now, as for servants to pair her up with, very simple. Look, it's Waver. He made it. Good job, Waver. Well done. Have a celebratory cigarette. 50% MP charge on him, attack up, critical damage up, defense up. He's a no-brainer. Moving on, Tamamo no Mae. She is our premier arts support with her 3-turn massive arts up. She is always going to be the top tier servant when it comes to supporting arts servants, but she pairs very well with the following 2 servants. We have Nero Bride, who has a very powerful 3-turn NP generation up skill. that is single target, and Paracelsus, who has AoE arts up and a single target MP generation buff skill to help out. Both of his are weaker than Tamamo's in Nero Brides, but putting together, they almost equal the strength of one of those skills. And he's a 3-star instead of needing to be a 5-star, so everyone has access to him. So if you don't have a Tamamo or a Nero Bride, he can work as a substitute. So, Simple Too Long Didn't Watch? She's a great role. One of the best out there. Extremely good. If arts is more your speed over quick setups, then she is a top-tier candidate for your arts looping setups. She is among the best of the best in the archers and will continue to be for a long, long time. And also, of course, most importantly, she's your cute One-san. You must roll for her. Let me know your opinions on Jeanne One-chan. And if you enjoyed this video, roll for One-chan. All glory to One-chan. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.